Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Asad Yaqub here. In this video, I'm going to tell you how to answer IELTS speaking questions, how to get 7, 8 or 9 band in IELTS speaking, right? What are the important components of IELTS speaking, how to understand every question of the examiner, and how to answer examiner's question even without understanding the question or even without knowing the answer. Even if you don't know the answer, you can answer the questions, okay? So guys, first of all, let me tell you, for IELTS speaking, we have a wonderful book. This book contains 150 topics which are highly likely to come in actual speaking test. For speaking part 1, 150 topics for speaking part 2 and speaking part 3 questions. So this book this is an examiner book. Actually, I call it an examiner book. This can help you a lot with your IELTS speaking module. This book is available in PDF form, in hard form in Pakistan only. So if you want to get there's a little administrative fee and you can just get it, okay? As far as IELTS speaking is concerned, I'm going to tell you the prerequisite of IELTS speaking. The first prerequisite is that you should be familiar with WH questions. Now, what are WH questions? WH questions are when, why, where, who, how, and all that stuff, right? So the first thing is you should know, in response to a certain WH question, what should I include in my answer? If the question starts with where, answer should contain location. If the question starts with who, answer should contain somebody, some person. If the question starts with why, in the answer there should be reason. If the question starts with when, answer should have that timeline, right? And if the question starts with how it means answer should have some method or manner how something is done. And then we have how often, how long, okay? So how often means frequency of something. For example, if I ask you, how often do you brush your teeth? And you say never, all right? Or you say once a month, okay? So this is how you actually go on and you understand examiner's question. And how long? We only use that in present perfect continuous tense. So the first thing is WH questions, and you are familiar with them. And these WH questions will help you during all the time. Your speaking test duration is 11 to 13 minutes. So for all 11 to 13 minutes, every question of the examiner will contain WH questions, right? Now, after this, the second thing is tenses. We call it grammatical range and accuracy. In IELTS speaking, examiners mainly ask you questions in 5 tenses, and you should be familiar with these 5 tenses very, very well. And when a question is asked in a certain tense, answer should also be delivered in the same tense. If examiner asks you, why do you? Do is first form of the verb. Which tense? Present simple. If the examiner asks you, where did you? Did is second form of the verb, past tense. And if examiner asks you, why will you? Will is future. So present, past, future. WH question will help you understand what you are going to say. Then after WH question, we have helping verbs. Helping verbs will tell you which tense so that you could answer in the same tense. And then there will be the main verb in the question, and that main verb will help you determine what you are going to speak in your answer. IELTS speaking or your speaking in IELTS is judged at 3 different levels, and these 3 levels are speaking part 1, speaking part 2 and speaking part 3. In speaking part 1, examiner may ask you 5 to 10 questions on 2 to 3 different topics, and these topics are actually familiar topics. If somebody asks me questions about my family, I can answer easily. Even I can answer about my neighbor's family as well. Just kidding. Okay? So this is something I'm familiar with. If somebody asks me questions about my hometown, about my likes, dislikes, about my favorite color, about my preference for watching movies, I can answer easily. So in speaking part 1, examiner will ask you general questions on familiar topics. In IELTS speaking part 1, there are no general knowledge questions, okay? Now, if you do not know the answer to any question, If the first thing is, if you do not understand the question, you can ask the examiner to repeat the question, and examiner will happily repeat the question, and then you can answer. Okay. If you do not have the answer, for instance, examiner says, do you plan to travel to outer space? Do you want to go to the moon? Now, all right, moon is something different. I'm talking about other moon that comes at night, okay? So in that case, I mean, if you do not have the answer because you might not have thought about going to the moon, in this case, you can answer. For example, would you like to travel to moon? Wow, that's a good question, but I've never thought about it. Yes, in future, if I ever get a chance, I would love to go there. Although I'm afraid of space traveling, but if it is safe and sound, and if a chance is given to me without paying for that, most definitely I would love to avail this offer. That's it. You've answered the question. In IELTS speaking, there is no definitive answer. There is no single answer. Right? If 100 people are going to answer 100 questions, these 100 answers are, or they must be different answers. So whatever comes to your mind, just relate it. For example, what kind of music do you like? Well, I'm not pretty sure about that. It depends on my mood. Sometimes I listen to fast music. On the other hand, sometimes I listen to rock music. So it truly depends. And sometimes whatever is being played, I prefer to listen to that. So I think I don't have any specific preference for music. Perfectly all right. There is no problem with this, okay? So, I mean, it's not how you answer. It's not what you speak in your answer. It's how you handle the question, okay? So like this, speaking part 1 will go on. And let me tell you, you are going to answer in 3 steps. The first step is direct answer. The second step is elaborate your answer. And the final step is conclude your answer, and that's it. Okay. So this is IELTS speaking part 1, and you can understand all the topics. As I mentioned about the book in the beginning, there are 150 topics, and out of those 150 topics, you're highly likely to get 1 or 2 topics in your actual exam. Now, we talk about IELTS speaking part 2, which is called cue card. In this part, examiner will give you a printed topic, then pen and paper, pencil and paper, 1 minute time to read the topic and write down some notes, and then you have to speak on that topic for 1 to 2 minutes. One of my students, what she did, she started writing on the cue card. They give you separate paper for that, and those cue cards are reusable. Examiners use them for other candidates as well. So what she did, she started writing on the cue card, and then examiner said, no, don't write on it. And she got puzzled and she could not read the cue card. She could not prepare the notes and all that. So please follow instructions during your IELTS speaking test. Now, topic is given. There are 2 parts of the topic. One is description. Second is cues. For example, describe a film that impressed you. So this is description. Describe a film that impressed you. So you need to decide immediately which film impressed you, right? Or which movie are you going to talk about there? You need to decide and write it on that piece of paper. Once you've decided, now you can read the cues. 1, description, descriptive topic, and 3 to 4 cues. And last cue is conclusion, right? Then they say, you should say what the film is about, when you watched it, why you like it so much, and how you felt after watching this movie. So there are 4 bullet points, and these 4 bullet points need outline. We also call it heading. So when they give you 1 minute time, first write the name of the movie, 3 Idiots, Titanic, whatever the movie is. Then when you watched it in 2020 with my friends in the cinema, like this you will write notes. Notes are not sentences. Notes are not grammatically correct sentences. They are just words. You write things in words. Okay, so you need to write notes for that. Okay, now the next bullet point, make some notes. You can make 1 or 2 notes, because in speaking part 2, you have to speak for minimum 1 minute and maximum 2 minutes. Okay, so 1 to 2 minutes, you got to speak. You can make notes in 1 minute. And when examiner says after 1 minute, You will now have to speak on this topic for 1 to 2 minutes. Your notes are in front of you. That topic is in front of you, pencil is in your hand. You can comfortably take a look at the notes, take a look at the topic, and you can speak for 1 to 2 minutes. In actual exam, examiner will stop you. Examiner will say, okay, thank you so much. Now, first important thing is the tense of the cue card. Describe a film you once watched, past tense. Describe a film you watch often, present tense. Describe a movie you would like to watch in the future, future tense. So the tense of the cue card should be the tense of your answer. If your cue card is in present tense, you can comfortably use present simple, where we use first form of the verb, present continuous. And if you want to give a reference of past, reference to the past, you can just give any reference. Otherwise, your main tense is going to be present. So decide wisely what's going to be my main tense and then speak in that main tense, right? After this, the next important thing is speaking. In speaking part 2, you will not have any watch, right? Examiner will tell you when to finish. And mostly examiners stop you after 1 minute anytime. But you're not going to expect the examiner to stop you. You just go on, keep talking, keep expressing, right? Just explain everything that you've written, the notes you've written. You can take a look at the notes. After 1.5 minutes, sometimes 2 minutes, examiner will say, okay, thank you. And then examiner will take pen, paper back from you, and then you move on to speaking part 3. Now, speaking part 3 is the next episode of speaking part 2. We call it follow-up questions. In speaking part 3, examiner will ask you some extended questions, and these extended questions are related to the cue card. There are 5 different categories. Let me tell you, in speaking part 1, they check your basic English. In speaking part 2, they check your fluency and intermediate level English. And in speaking part 3, they check your advanced level English, okay? So there are 5 categories of questions they may ask you in speaking part 3. First of all, opinion. They will ask you questions where you have to give your opinion. Secondly, they may ask you to compare 2 things, village life with city life, present with future, present with past. So you need to use comparative structures, okay? After that, they may ask you advantages of anything. What are the benefits of living in a village? What are the drawbacks? The next thing is drawbacks. What are the drawbacks of living in big cities? So advantages, disadvantages, right? Opinion, comparison, and finally prediction. They will ask you some questions where you will have to predict about the future. You will talk about future, in the future, what is going to happen. And for that, you can use the words like it would, it is likely to happen, in the foreseeable future, such changes are going to take place, this will, and all that stuff. So they are going to ask you these questions. In speaking part 3, this usually happens that students do not understand the question. So in case if you do not understand the question, you can ask the examiner to repeat the question. They will repeat the question for you and you can answer easily. IELTS speaking is not your listening test. If you do not understand the question and you understand the next question and answer well, you will get good bench score. It's not that you did not answer a question. The questions that you answer and the answers that you have provided, the answers you have provided, on the basis of your answers, they are going to give you the bench score, right? Finally, I would like to tell you that there are 4 marking criteria. Examiners for babies, and you have to please those babies, okay? Baby number 1 is pronunciation. Examiner will mark you on your pronunciation. Tips for pronunciation: speak clearly. Right? Speak clearly. Pronounce the words clearly. Use English sounds properly. Properly. P, C, K, T, TH, I think, thank you, and all that. Okay, so this is what we call pronunciation. Stress patterns: democracy, photography, not photography. Next, we have fluency. Fluency means you have to speak without pauses. You have to speak fluently without breaks, right? So speak fluently, and for that you need practice. Talk time, your English talk time. More English is spoken, by your tongue, more you become fluent. Okay. Next, grammar. The tense of the question should be the tense of the answer. Use compound sentences mainly. Use complex sentences as well. Use modal verbs can, could, should, may, might, right? And final marking criteria is vocabulary. Use a variety of words and you will get very good bench score, right? I have compiled this book on IELTS speaking. This book contains, this is actually guest book for speaking. So you can get this book in PDF form all over the world and in printed or PDF form in Pakistan. For that, just send us a message on WhatsApp and we'll give you all the details. Asad Yaqub wholeheartedly wishes you best of luck. I also teach IELTS online all over the world and in campus in Lahore, Pakistan. We have study plan for IELTS preparation. Okay, we have books on IELTS. We have computer delivered IELTS software on our website where you can practice computer delivered IELTS. We offer test booking in Pakistan and we have study visa consultancy as well. So whatever you want, just tell us and we'll give you all the details. Asad Yaqub wishes you best of luck. Take care. Allah Hafiz.